office in 1970. There were 3 hypnotists in Chicago in 1970. They're all gone except myself, and they, that was it. 1970. Right now there must be 300 hypnotists in Chicago, and many of them are flourishing because hypnosis is the profession right now. There's a great study done on Google that you might search, and that is a study of hypnosis compared to psychotherapy and psychoanalysis. You know that, some of it, yeah. And it's up there with 93% after 6 sessions, which the others don't even come close. So we are in a profession that is thriving. The only regret I have is that at this time in my life, I'm 77, that I hope I'm around another 30 years or so to be able to benefit from this growth of hypnosis that I've observed gradually up here. So now, the electronics, that's why I'm here, and I only have an hour to speak of it. William decides what I'm speaking of. I don't know if he does that to you or not. He says, how about if you speak on electronics, and how about if you speak on this other topic, whatever that one is, tomorrow. But he gave me an hour. This one should be 2 hours. Before you leave, though, please remind me. I want to give you some information that I'll have to extend it further. If you wish some information in print on this, you contact me, and I will send you a great handout I have. It's about 10 pages long on electronic hypnosis, but allow me to highlight it for you. So I go to Dr. Larry's office, and he's in this beautiful business building, downtown Rockford, Illinois. And it's elegant, just elegant. You know, you come in, you have a nice receptionist, and she says, okay, I'm going to show you around. At that time I was working with another hypnotist. Some of you might know this name, Diana Barrar. Diana Barrar started doing hypnosis in 1971, full-time, and was one of the first female hypnotists to do hypnosis, and still is at this time in her life, full-time. She has 2 offices in the Chicago area, does quite well. I remember, and I'm going to jump around a little bit, excuse me for that, but in this first conference, they had contests at that time at the hypnosis conference, and who could do the best induction techniques. That's how into inductions we were then. And the first prize was a man's watch. Yeah. Today we have at the NGH, 67% of the hypnotists are women. 67%. Because hypnosis belongs to empathy. Hypnosis belongs to compassion. Hypnosis belongs to sensitivity. And if we move into that, the men in this room have a different kind of an energy than most men out in this world. About 8 or 9 out of every 10 clients I see are women. And the men that I see are very special, very significant. And they have a different consciousness, and you'll observe this more, I'm sure. Go back to electronics. So Dr. Larry has a setup, and he has a control room, big half circle thing that looked like NBC, with monitors all over and microphones and at that time tape players. And so he's going to show me around, and he has little rooms. We walk down like a hotel room, but it's in a business office with doors on either side. And as we open a door, there's a small little room with a recliner, a camera, headphones, a little blanket to put on their lap, and he hypnotizes them from this control room. This was terrible. I wanted to vomit. I was so discouraged to see this mechanical thing for this great spiritual thing called hypnosis to me. I didn't understand it. You know, we have judgments again. We have judgments. Electronic hypnosis, that sounds cold. I wouldn't do that. I have to share with you the style of hypnosis that I adopted from his training. As I said, I was so fortunate. I worked with him for 6 years. And in 1974, I began to incorporate this. How I incorporated it was, I would sit with my client sitting here like you would, and I'd sit here by my desk, and I had a little recorder at that time and a microphone to speak on, and the client would wear headphones, and I would talk to her or him through my microphone, and I would do my induction, recording my induction at the same time that I was speaking to her. And then I learned a skill that he was doing. He was doing all of his recordings, all of his inductions on recorded messages at that time. This is the way the medical profession was trained. It was called the Academy of Hypnosis. They only trained physicians. Many were trained in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and they're still around, by the way. But remember, a physician with the training that he or she might go through in school doesn't have time to sit with you for an hour, hour and a half doing an induction. So their inductions were done. And this was called hypnoanalysis. Hypnoanalysis was a projection of bringing psychoanalysis into hypnosis. And I learned much. It wasn't my style, but I learned much. And in the process of this learning, I began to take my own creative skills and adopt my skills as a hypnotist into these electronics, where now I would hypnotize a client sitting there with this microphone recording it, giving them a recording tape with if they wish. That was good. This is 1974, 75. And then I began to learn that this recording I was using here, I could edit that, and I could take maybe 15, 20 minutes of my induction, which would say an induction might be 40, 45 minutes, an hour. I don't know how long. I hypnotize people currently for an hour. I'll share with you later if I can why. But I would take part of this recording and edit it of 15, 20 minutes that would say things like, so relaxed, so comfortable, so deep. How many times can you say that to every client that comes in? So now I could add that seamlessly into the client's headphones while I did my notes of the client and wrote down things that I had learned, got some ideas, got some future thoughts for my next client, and observe this client objectively as he or she is sitting there. And I'm not when we hypnotize people, we are intimate with them. We are into their consciousness. We are reaching their soul. We can't watch their breathing, their eye movements. We can't watch their absence of movements or what they're doing. But now I could. It was almost like there was a Larry Garrett here talking and another Larry Garrett here observing. How special was that? Then Dr. Larry was teaching me, well, why don't you put him in another room? Oh, I got to watch him. Well, they're not going anywhere, and you can always put a camera in there if you want to watch them, but they're not going to go anywhere. Well, what if they have an ab reaction? Here again, 48 years in October, I have never had an ab reaction in a client. I've never had a client be uncomfortable when I'm speaking to them. When I speak to a client, I am loving them. I'm giving them as much love as I could feel, especially during my pre-talk. Last year some of you I met, and I suggest this, I have about 200 articles on hypnosis and related fields, always open for me to share with you. I also have some great manuals on pre-talk, about 50 pages, one on smoking, one on regression. If you have some interest in these, just name a topic, send me an email, and I'll send it off to you. I learned this year, I told William, I'm not going to bring you printed material anymore because it's too expensive and most of it ends up in the trash can there, but with your personal interest, you'll contact me. Back to electronics. So now Dr. Larry wants me to put the person in another room. Didn't feel good. And my first office, I was in my first office for 25 years. This new one I've been in for about 20, and I'll share that with you in a moment. It was an interesting view. I had a storefront. Dr. Larry's saying to me, you have to look professional. Professional? I can't afford profession. I'm lucky to have the storefront. It was $185 a month at the time. How many clients do I need to hypnotize at $25 a head to pay for my rent? That's what I have here. No, you have to be in a medical building. Medical building. Do you know how much it costs in a medical? I mean, these weren't words, but these were my anxieties, right? But I had somebody give me reassurance I could do it. And now he's saying, what if I come to Chicago and work in your office one day a week? Woo! Sit here right now and think about some prominent physician who's doing medical hypnosis being in your office one day a week. That could sure perk up your professionalism, your credibility. All of a sudden, Larry Garrett's now a professional. He's in a medical building. He's got a doctor working with him. We're talking again early 70s, right? It's different now. Here's the history. So we did find a medical building. It was actually a dental building because most of the medical professions wouldn't let us in. Hypnosis, we don't do things like that here. We can't rent to you. We don't rent to people like this. So in the dental building, I meet this dentist, Dr. Smith we'll call him. Hypnosis, wonderful. I had that in medical or dental school, and dentists were the first medical profession to be incorporating hypnosis, if you didn't notice or know that history, because they were using it for gagging. They were using it for teeth grinding. They were using it for bleeding. So this process was open. Now I had a great rent increase with anxiety. I'm a very sensitive person. When you're sensitive, you have either anxiety or excitement. They both come from the same part of the brain, if you may have heard earlier this morning. My God, I'm so excited. Oh, what if it doesn't happen? See, it's the same energy, right? So I say to this dentist who owns the building, I said, 5-year lease. What if I can't pay the rent? Well, I said, let me tell you something, Larry. If you can't pay the rent, we don't want you here anyway, so you can just move. Oh, okay, that's easy. Wasn't that nice? Yeah. So I stayed there for 25 years, needless to say. Of course, my rent kept going up. But let's go back to my electronic hypnosis. So now I'm learning how to hypnotize. We set up this setting here to have extra rooms to do hypnosis. Meantime, Dr. Larry's teaching me how. Now I'm hypnotizing a person in another room, observing them on a little monitor, which, by the way, I don't use anymore. Sure, why, if I have time. And I'm speaking to them, and I start doing my induction with my personal suggestions, and then I seamlessly put on a recording, and now my next client comes in to see me. Well, that person's in another room listening to the recording. I see faces here. Like, really? Yeah, really. And then, as I do this, I have this process going on where this client is getting my best. I say this again without judgment to you. Imagine, if you will, that you are an artist. Do most of you consider hypnosis an art?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Beautiful art, isn't it? I mean, think about a person. What I love about hypnosis is they open their eyes and they go, oh, that's great. It's better than sex sometimes. It's a good feeling. And it's always a good feeling for the hypnotist to see this. So now, this piece of art that you do, you have this canvas and you do this beautiful landscape. Client loves it. Beautiful, just what I imagined. And they walk out the door and you erase it, and you do another landscape for the next client. And you erase it, and that's what you're doing with your inductions. I erase nothing. My best inductions are recorded, my best. My best deepenings are recorded. I have a cabinet behind my desk, if you've been in my office, and there are 650 recordings in there. I know because that's how many slots I have. 650 recordings of almost any topic you could think of, so that I could speak to this person in a very personal way, using their name and details we spoke of during a pre-talk, using suggestions that are appropriate to them, and then seamlessly put in my deepening while I see my next client. And by the way, I might add to you, there is no fatigue in this. There's fatigue in hypnotizing clients one at a time. What would you think? 3, 5 clients a day? 3, 5? Is that good? How many? Help me. Be talking with me. Don't just let me lecture.
5,
5, okay. At the end of 5 clients, how are you feeling?
Tired.
Yeah, because hypnosis is really expressing. It's expressing your energies. Plus, this is another one. You're sitting there. Don't you dare drop a pen on your desk while you're doing your induction, because your client will jump. If I am hypnotizing a woman, and I'm a male individual like some of us in this room, and you're in the same room as me, and that woman closes her eyes, she is immediately at a disadvantage. She is now vulnerable. She's not susceptible, she's vulnerable. Yes? Yes. Women? Anna? Is it Anna? Anna, yeah. Is that right? You close your eyes.
Trust you totally.
I love you. Thank you. Good to see you again this year. I don't remember everybody's name each year, but I remember yours. Thank you. And you're from California, right?
From Seattle.
Oh, Seattle. I knew it was West Coast. When you're from Chicago, they all look the same.
An accent from Seattle.
I'm glad you're here. Originally from Ukraine? Russia. Close. Again, when you're from Chicago, they're all the same. I'm just kidding. Okay, let me go back. So I'm hypnotizing a woman. She closes her eyes. There's a sensitivity of vulnerability that becomes part of her compared to susceptibility. Now watch this one. Close your eyes for me. If I lean closer, you wonder why am I going so close, and if I turn my head, you opened your eyes. My hypnosis has failed already?
Keeping an eye on you.
What's your name?
Marty.
Marty. Oh, you recorded class earlier, right? Oh, I'd sure like to hear a copy
I
of that.
know
That
you
was.
would. That's what I
She
hear.
tell you? She tell you? Good. Yeah, I loved her class.
She's gonna teach me how to
I don't
do
know that logical stuff. You know, I'm off the wall. You know, I'm like Shelley. I have this great imagination that is not logical, but it works. So going back, excuse me. So I'm hypnotizing a woman who is a little tight and sensitive because she's going to an office of a hypnotist. In the 70s, remember, the city came because we were practicing witchcraft. Hypnosis was short of an abortion clinic when people would walk in. That's right. That's right. Feel the energies I am sharing with you in history. Yes, Shelley, you've been doing hypnosis many years. How many?
Yes.
How many of you doing hypnosis 30 years? You how old are you?
20.
So, so anyway, the history is accurate. So there is fear. Now there's not as much fear, but there is still vulnerability when you're dealing with issues of sexuality. Sexuality, such an inhibited word, sexuality, and yet something that we all have experienced in some way, shape, or form, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. But yet I lean closer to Marty, and she wonders why. If I turn my head, she's wondering where am I going, and if I drop something, I've blown the whole thing. What if I need to clear my throat? Well, I'm hypnotizing. I have a pot on microphone control. I turn it. No, I don't have one, Petra. I'm using my imagination. Petra's very visual. She's looking for a pot. I have a control center here. We get better wording. And I turn the volume off of my microphone. Now I can turn it back on. Remember, this is all seamless. Unless you come and visit me, you cannot begin to imagine how seamless it is. But my words will go from feel your body starting to relax. And the recording will come on and say, and as you relax more, and it just keeps going. So the real issue is, does it really matter if you're saying these words personally, direct, or if they've been recorded at a time when you were at your ultimate? When I am at my ultimate is when I make recordings. And if I have a client that comes in that I don't have a recording for, I run late with my next client so I can make a new recording. I need to have, you know, like I think of smokers. Any of you have my smoker manual, the smoking cessation manual?
I do.
Good, thank you. How many pages? About 50, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, about 50 pages. How many different kinds of smokers did I list? Many.
Yeah.
40?
Yeah.
About 40 different kinds. Do you know how many smokers there are? Have you ever smoked, any of you? If you haven't smoked, you don't even have a clue what a smoker goes through. But if I am a smoker and I sit back and I go, can't mess with me. Did you see the posture? Did you see that powerful posture? Now you're going to hypnotize a person not to be addicted to nicotine? Where did you come from? This person's not addicted to nicotine. This person's addicted to the confidence that cigarette gives them. They're addicted to the abilities to run life by that cigarette. They're happy if they're sad, if they're nervous, they're bored. And you're hypnotizing them to quit smoking. I don't believe that word works. We spoke of that last night when Michelle said it. I'm a hypnotist and I hypnotize people to quit smoking. No, you don't. No, you don't. They decide if they're going to quit smoking. You only hypnotize them to help control or be able to reduce the urges. Who do you think you are? I'm hypnotizing you to lose weight. No, you're not. Their body's going to determine that. Their mind's going to help with that. You're only a teacher. I protect myself well. You can imagine I hypnotize about 20 to 30 people a week, about 8 to 10 a day with the electronics as I'm speaking. Nobody's ever gypped on my pre-talk because I am, as you can tell, I'm a personal guy. You know, I'm going to sit there and spend time. If you need extra time, I got it. I can allot 2 hours for every client, and they will get 2 hours of my time. Some of it's recorded. Even the introduction. If you go on my website, you'll see there's an introduction there. It says, "Hi, my name is Larry Garrett, and when we meet personally, here's what we're going to do." How many times have you told a client, "Hi, here's what hypnosis is. You're not unconscious. You won't be sleeping. You'll be able to hear everything I'm saying." And now the next client comes in. Are you going to tell them the same thing you told the previous client? By the way, they know each other, and they're going to compare notes later. You're going to look like a failure if you don't tell everybody the same thing. Why aren't you using a video to introduce your clients to what you're going to do so that everybody hears the same message? You can't be incongruent with your messages and expect success. You know, again, I sound like a judger. I'm not judging. I'm just having fun. And, you know, leave it to Larry or Shelley, and they're going to light up the room, can't we? We have so much
You're
fun.
adorable. I love you so much.
I love you too, thank you. Do we know each other?
Hi,
What's your name? Ricky. What's it?
Ricky.
Ricky. We meet before, Ricky?
Last year.
I thought so. Okay, thank you. I just had an energy, sometimes I just have energies with people. And so, what was I saying?
You said I was wonderful.
I don't want to run out of time, but I have so much to tell you. So I'm enlightening you on electronic hypnosis. I'm even going to do a sales pitch before you leave because I believe so much in what I'm doing, and Shelley and I were talking earlier that I have many videos of, like I have a camera on me right now, because I want to know that I do a good job by my views, not yours. You want to be nice, you don't want to hurt my feelings because I'm sensitive, and you say, oh, Larry did a good job. But did I feel like I did a good job? I monitor myself pretty regularly, especially with recordings. Again, imagine the recordings that I speak of. They're not recordings. They're me at my best. Remember the art. I save every masterpiece I do. I sound egotistical, I don't mean to be. But I think that the hypnosis I do is genuine and good. Otherwise I'd be out of business. I've never advertised in 48 years. I've never told a client to come back. Last night we were talking, and how many sessions do I suggest? I always suggest I need to see you 1 to 3 times. Now, I tell a person that because I don't want them to come back if they don't want to be there. I seldom have failures because I will always reject a person that's not ready. Money's not an issue with me. It doesn't mean because I'm so wealthy, it just means because I've never used money as a criteria for my success. I use my success for my criteria of success. Last week I had a man come in and he kept rolling his eyes, kept making faces. At one time he's looking away while I'm speaking to him, and I say, Rick, can you look at me when I'm speaking? I can hear you. Yeah, but I need to see you hearing me. And after we were all finished with our pre-talk, which is an hour, I said to him, I don't think that we're going to do hypnosis today. He says, oh, you don't do hypnosis on the first session? No, I don't do hypnosis with you on the first session. And he was not a man that's normally rejected. He was a very successful, prominent person. He had ringing in the ears. He's been to every medical profession there is. And he says he doesn't think the hypnosis is going to work because he thinks it's medical. And I just sat back with a cocky attitude and I said, then why are you sitting in the office of a hypnotist if you think it's medical? Well, somebody referred me. Well, maybe they shouldn't have referred you, because this is not going to be successful for you as long as you have an issue that you don't think this is going to help. And by rejecting him, I've maintained my success. You never want to hypnotize somebody that you intuitively pick up is not going to be a good candidate for hypnosis, because they will spoil you. We were talking last night about Yelp with Michelle and Cindy. Go on Yelp and look up Larry Garrett of the person who didn't quit smoking. It's a great story. And the story is that if a person doesn't do well, let them come back at no charge or give them back their money. This is, you talk to people, you get paid. What kind of profession can you have where you could make 100+ talking to a person? No wonder we pay William Mitchell so much to learn how to do hypnosis. Right, but you're in a gifted profession. I don't care if you hypnotize one person a month as I used to, or if you hypnotize 50 people a week. I go back in some of my history when I first learned from Dr. Larry how to do hypnosis, and I was in my 30s and 40s, and I would hypnotize as many as 60, 70 people in a week. You say, where did so many people come from? Doing a good job. Doing a good job. Our greatest success advertisement is referrals. We have a little card. I'll share a lot of this with you tomorrow, because tomorrow my topic, William picked it out. Now that you know how to drive the car, how do you park it? Big deal. You know how to hypnotize people. Big effing deal. What are you going to do with that? Huh? Close your eyes. You're going to quit smoking. Baloney. Baloney. Doesn't work like that. There's a core here. If you heard Maggie earlier speaking about this logical brain stuff, I don't understand that stuff. But if you can have empathy with every person that sits in your room, I kind of interacted in an earlier talk. There's a great podcast called The Rumor of Empathy. And empathy is oxygen for the soul. You want to be successful with every client, you become every client. Don't view just your induction as your magic. We just heard about having if you want a manual on pre-talk, I have an excellent manual on pre-talk. You say, this guy's egotistical. No, I'm confident. I feel a great passion for what I do because I'm still in business. You know, the idea is I'm in business. How many businesses can be around for 48 years without advertising? So my confidence is my electronics. If you want to learn electronics, as I say before, I don't know how much time do I have. Anybody know? I have a watch.
It's 11:38.
11:38. Good. Okay, so excellent time. How about some interaction? Don't let me just talk, because my voice will get tired, and I won't have time to talk to you guys later. Talk to me. Ask me some questions. Challenge me, if you will. Tell me how much you hate the idea of using electronics, because I have to tell you, I sure did when I was first introduced. Darren Marty.
How do you use it?
How do I use it?
How do you use so you have several people at one time?
Well, no,
And then-
presently I work with 2 people at a time.
Okay, so
But
if you
remember,
could
they're
explain-
overlapping. They're not at
Okay.
the same time.
Okay,
There's different things going on. I'm doing a pre-talk with you while Shelley's sitting in another room listening to a pre-recorded deepening that I had put related to her topic.
I see, okay.
Yes, okay. Now when and I work with an assistant. I never work alone. I always work with an assistant. I take you out. I don't take. My assistant takes you and puts you in another room.
Mm-hmm.
I go back and I speak to Shelley personally with the suggestions she needs
Mm-hmm.
and a conclusion. She leaves. My next client, oh, I'm not. I'm talking to you. My next client then comes in and I keep this process going.
I see, okay.
Yeah.
And what do the clients, how do they respond to the fact that you're not going to be in the room?
Yes.
And that you're doing
They
electronic?
love it. I say to them just what I said to you. Typical hypnosis, and I qualify, not to criticize other hypnotists, we're seated in the same room during the hypnosis. You're seated there and I'm seated here. I view, from my personal opinion, that what I'm going to do has a little more success factor because the closeness that we have is also intimidating even to another man. Is also intimidating because we're close, but by you being in a separate room, you'll be isolated with headphones so you won't hear distractions like a siren going by, you won't hear noises, and the deepening is going to be something that I created at a time that I was at my ultimate. So my personal suggestions will be there that you need, the deepening will be successful, and you'll be okay. So they know, in fact on the video, if you go on my website and watch the video, you'll see that video will tell you in detail exactly what I do because I don't have enough time here. But
Okay,
that's a
great.
good question.
Thank you.
And I suggest for all of you this. I have a workshop coming up in November. Might not be as good as Petra's, but if you've ever been in her talk, if you've not been in her talk, be in her talk this weekend. She is the most dynamic presenter I've ever met in terms of body language and communicating with the subconscious. But I'm doing a workshop in November for anybody who's interested in this. We're going to do about 6 hours. I'm going to supply equipment if you need, because what kind of equipment do you use? Today's world, everybody's using emails for their inductions. Like if you are a hypnotist who makes recordings, you make recordings for your clients anyway? Good. If you don't, you could increase your income by making a recording. Well, yeah, but it's not the same. No, it's not the same, but you're going to be more sure they're going to do some self-hypnosis if they could take you home. And I say to them, this recording is what we're doing today, and you could use it every night at home. And I often qualify this. I don't want you to view this recording like a recording. This is going to be me speaking to you about your goals at home. If you go to a concert, you pay $500 to sit in the front row seat so you can have the ambience and the aura and the charisma of the performer. You come in my office and you're paying me to be here. So don't listen to this as a recording. Listen to it as though I'm speaking to you. That amplifies a suggestion of success. Yes? So do recordings. Recordings are good. Now tapes are becoming obsolete. We spoke downstairs that some people still use tapes. I still use tapes for editing. I use tapes for people who are still into tapes. There's only one company in the United States that still makes tapes. Did you know that? National Recording in Springfield, Missouri. It's the only company that still makes tapes. CDs are becoming obsolete. How many of you have a new car with no CD player?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Thumb drives and flash drives are becoming big issues. But the real issue, what people want right now, is they want you to send it, the recording on their email, in Dropbox. That's right, think of that. I have my phone, I don't have enough time to share with you, but the clients that I have that want to record it on emails, it's on my phone. Now if they say, oh, I lost my recording, I erased my recording, can you send it again? Of course, boom, it's there in a minute. That's technology, we gotta move, right? So don't let it sound complicated to you, it's not complicated. I think it would be good for you to purchase a flash drive recorder, standalone recorder, with a microphone. Have your clients wear headphones, and you always need to wear headphones. Start out like I did, same room you're hypnotizing your clients in now. Put your recorder here, have them wear headphones, you talk to them as you're talking to them, and you're making these recordings, and when you find something you really like, always make yourself one, and like I'm doing with the video, listen to it, and if you like it, save that recording, edit out what you want for your next client. You'll be amazed how much you can accomplish, how successful you could become. Please, what's your name?
Carlin.
Carl.
Did you ever have
Carl?
any,
Carl?
Carlin.
Carlos, okay?
Did you ever have any issues with the client being nervous about recording those sessions, worried that they're being recorded?
Well, I only record what I'm hypnotizing them for, not the pre-talk. I used to. I have a recording when Rock Hudson came to see me many years ago, and I used to have a camera sitting here. My time's up? 2 more minutes. I have 2 more minutes. But anyways, I used to record video in my office, but I discontinued that. Remember again, I work with an assistant all the time. Please.
Just a quick question. How,
Yes.
in percentage, how much of your presence is within those 2 hour sessions?
Good question. Depends on the pre-talk. Smokers are quick. I could hypnotize, I could do a pre-talk 15, 20 minutes with a smoker. Person comes in with some emotional issues, and remember too, as I become very involved with them, could be as long as an hour. And then I will shorten my personal time on my recordings. I always like to devote an hour to the hypnosis, but then the pre-talk gives me that flexibility. So we see I've cut my schedule down, by the way, I think because I just want to take it easy. But we see one client an hour on our schedule, but each client's getting 2 hours, if that makes sense. Let me pass out some literature on upcoming workshop I'm going to do.
Larry,
And-
what's your email address?
Email. You can find me fast. It's LarryGarrett.com. If you don't have my email, if you want to write that down, is LarryGarrett.gwc@gmail.com. You send me a note, I'd be glad to send you any information. Call me if you will. But if you go to LarryGarrett.com, I was going to offer one more suggestion. Tomorrow I'm going to do a great presentation on what you can do to really increase your business, but as we hear, my time is going on. Well,
Do we have to contact you on your site for the handouts, or
please, Patty, say again.
how do we get the
Handouts,
handouts?
yeah, you send me an email,
Website?
send me an email, and I promise you that whatever you'd like, and you think of any topic, and I probably have an article on it. Some of the articles are 2, 3, 4 pages. The one for today, I'll send you, be glad to, it's 6 or 8 pages long.
So that would be LarryGarrett.gwc.
Yeah, Larry Garrett.